Kingdom Culture.
I'm Cassie, and I'm a DJ and radio presenter.
This is Calvin, the Food Venus. I'm a professional mix and mastering engineer, producer, CEO of a studio, and a record label.
Yo, I'm Charles, founder of Kingdom Culture and a creative enthusiast. And you're listening to the UK Christian Hip Hop Podcast on Kingdom Culture.
It's been a good start. Episode 5 of the UK CHH Podcast on Kingdom Culture. And I am joined by yours truly, DJ Cassie and Calvin Venus.
Episode 5, really?
Yeah, episode 5.
Wow, you know.
I mean, it's been good, isn't it? It's been,
it's been fun for sure.
I've definitely enjoyed it.
We've been touching on some good subjects.
Yeah, thought-provoking. Like, I was still thinking about episode 4 all week, thinking, did I embarrass the family name? You know what I mean? No joke. If anyone has any questions about that, like, yeah, feel free. Like, we were just being open and honest, and I know that we were really thinking about what we were about to say, you know? So yeah, man, I'm good here. Been busy. I know everyone's been busy, really.
It has been a busy week. Well, busy couple of weeks, actually. But I'm seeing daylight now from all of the stuff that I've been dealing with. Still there, but we're ticking off, you know, the checklist of, you know, errands and demands from the lifestyle that we live. How's your week been, Cass?
It's been not too bad, actually. As you know, we went to that event at Zoe Nights, and, you know, I've still got other work that I need to catch up on. To be honest, I've got a lot of stuff coming towards the end of the year, so much things that I need to do. I've given myself a target and I'm a bit behind, but I believe I'll get there.
Are any of us ahead of our work? Or are we all like...
I'm not ahead of our work. I'm so... honestly, I'm sweating because it's actually Wednesday tomorrow, and I'm like, I gave myself a target Friday for one thing, and...
Like, I feel like, you know them cartoons where, like, you see the man trying to chase the hat down the street and the winky's blowing just at that time he's about to get. That's how I feel right now. Like, I'm right now constructing the studio, and, well... I've been in the studio for about a year, and it's about 12,000 square feet. So it's quite big. And when I went in, I moved from a smaller, you know, studio, and that was like 300 square feet. And so, sorry, 1,200. Did I say 12,000? Raw. That sounds like IKEA, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so I mean, when you said that, I think to myself, hold on. All I could picture is a big warehouse.
Warehouse, nah. Basically, it is a warehouse. It's like a warehouse studio. Like, I had this vision of I'm already global with a lot of the clients that I work with around the world. I think like 4 or 5 different continents and 12 countries I'm at now. But, and sometimes it's simultaneously. But I needed to be hyper local because I work with a lot of local bands and, you know, choirs and the likes. And so things have been, you know, it's a new business. So things have been interesting. You know, I had some successes, but, you know, dealing with paperwork, dealing with, you know, the actual productions, and then liaising with people around the world, and then chasing up invoices. Like, man, sometimes it sounds like I'm patting my head and rubbing my stomach, you know what I mean? But it really feels like I'm perpetually like trying to chase this hat that just keeps blowing in the wind, you know what I mean? But I'm making moves now, so watch this space.
Making moves and no excuses, right?
Well, yeah. Sometimes I'm staying still and trying not to make excuses, you know what I mean? But, you know, it's just trying to be realistic, take yourself seriously and not like beat yourself down. You know what I mean? Sometimes the Lord wants you to stop and, you know, gather all your things and, you know, take stock and renegotiate your movements. You know what I mean? Sometimes like you have to pivot. I heard one of the best statements that I've ever heard, and it still makes sense today. To be in business, you need to be in business. Because if you think that I'm only going into business if I had A, B, and C. Sometimes you go into business and you only have A, B, and you're looking for C. You know what I mean? But you're not going to go in there until you have A and B, and then you realize, wow, what I actually need is B, C, D. I don't need A. And so to be in business, that's when you only found out what you need in business, if you know what I mean. If that makes sense. I know I'm kind of, this is not even that type of podcast, but I'm trying to be like really brief.
Yeah, no, I heard that. I feel you on that, man. It's almost like speculation, isn't it? You're standing on the outside of a room, speculating what's inside, planning for what's inside, and when you get inside of the room, you have to throw the paper away because you realise that it's not what you expected.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Get involved, jump in the deep end or shallow end, medium, wherever you want to jump in. Just jump in and then start to learn how to swim, how to develop yourself in business or any craft that you do, even in music. You know, don't sit there writing 50 songs and never releasing anything, because the minute you release your first song, then you start to find out the temperature or the thoughts of a fan base or people out there concerning your music, you know? Yeah, taste and so forth. Yeah, so I definitely see that point, man. So what's hot? What's been cracking your ears, man?
Who's gonna go first?
Okay, I don't mind going first. So, what I've been listening to, I mean, the song's been around for a long time. So is G-tay. I don't know if any of you both heard of G-tay, or you're not familiar with him.
Not before I heard it now, but yeah, no.
Yeah. So he's a Nigerian. He's born in Nigeria and he immigrated to Toronto. It's information I got about him from a young age. And this song is that I listened to is taken from his new album, which he released this year, XXY. You know, how it just sort of stood out to me, because he talks a lot about, you know, marriage and the ups and downs of marriages. It's just a great album. Honestly, I've never heard anything like this before. Definitely not. Definitely unique album. The kind of things that he talks about in the song that I want to talk about. It talks about, you know, that tug of war in marriages. You know, like when you feel like I'm not saying yourself, you both, you two, but you know, some people sometimes feel their spouse isn't giving them enough attention, and you know, those sort of things, those emotions. It really captures that emotion in the song. Wow. And you know, like in the chorus, where they say the chorus is like, I'm going through some things, babe. I need to get away, babe. You know, there's some things that, I mean, something I would say anyway. I would say something like that. I'm just going through some things. I need to get away, you know, and, you know, take that both of them. And she's basically saying in the chorus that both of them need to get away, you know, so they can just be the two of them just to get reacquainted with each other. So it really, you know, I'm really grateful for this album that he's done, because it really does just capture a lot of the ups and downs in marriages. So without further ado, the song that I would like to introduce is Get Away, and this is G-tay.
You're listening to the UKCHH podcast.
I see you with an open heart. I see you been there from the start. And we both know how this go. Open up a door or a window. Open up a door or a window. You've been saying I don't notice how you hold me down. Like I don't feel the love when you hold me down. Spend the day, spend the night. Hold me tight, tell me I'ma be alright.
I'm going through some things, babe. I need to get away, babe. Take a trip, take a vacay. Let's manage just us two. Let's just set the mood. Do the things we do. You know that I need you. I need you. I'm going through some things, babe. I need to get away, babe. Take a trip, take a vacay. Let's manage just us two. Let's just set the mood. Do the things we do. You know that I need you. I need you.
I see that you've been on your jaw. Like, oh my God. What did I do to come close to you? And why did you choose to come close to me? Come close to me. You know you go, I'll go, then we hit the road. We just need time on our own. Time back at home. You've been saying I don't notice how you hold me down. Like I don't feel the love when you hold me down. Spend the day, spend the night. Hold me tight, tell me I'ma be alright.
I'm going through some things, babe. I need to get away, babe. Take a trip, take a vacation.
I really like songs. It's got that new school vibe. But you're right, like using kind of Christian worldview in a sound that, you know, it's the flavour of the month right now, isn't it?
Yeah, because you put a lot of like hip hop and has like the, we'll say Afro pump. Yeah, and you know, that's R&B, because that sounds like more like an R&B type, you know. So yeah, it's one of the, I don't know, maybe I've noticed that coming towards the end of the year, I do like my, you know, my hip hop and my rap and stuff, but at the moment, I don't know, maybe because it's coming up to the end of the year, I'm sort of trying to mellowing out, and a lot of songs. Yeah, but yeah, it's just, it might be the overload of work I have. I need something a bit softer. I think I might have to put something a bit more harder on, could get me to work a bit faster. But you know, this is yeah, I'm enjoying it. What about you, Charles? Did you manage to listen to it?
No, I didn't manage to listen to it, but I'm going to do a Calvin and I'm going to listen to these tracks on the podcast. So when I kind of edit, put it together, I'm like, yeah, I'm feeling that point too. So yeah. Last time I listened to the tracks, but this time I want to be that kind of fly on the wall listener, thinking, okay, cool, I heard that point, you know.
No, but if you listen to it, but like put it on, let your wife hear it as well. You and your wife listen to it, Calvin, because
no, it's true. Like most of the
Calvin,
time,
I just say Calvin. I better say Charles. Oh, you know what? You guys, Calvin, Cece, yeah, you and Calvin, both of you, let your wives listen to it as well.
Yeah, for sure. Like I'm a lot of the music now that I deal with, especially like rap music, like she listens to. She was never a prolific listener of rap music before, but now she's become so much more acquainted with it because, again, content is very important to her now. You know, especially being a Christian woman, she's like, look, what's inside of this music? What's the bars about? You know, is it like, was that the Bizzle concert? She was like, we was both there and was kind of like embraced, kind of listening to the set and whatnot. And it's almost like I just felt God just kind of like dropping man's spirit, like, it's okay. Like you can jam, like you can
let go.
Like, let go. Like, you know, it's not an Eminem concert, you know what I mean? It's like you don't have to worry about like what these guys are putting in, because you know the tracks, you've heard it, you've got the EP, you've got the album. So and I just, you know what? Cool. Let me just start. And I just got involved, and it's just I connected with that part of myself that I won't say lost, but I've almost had to put in the cupboard for a while because there's not a lot of live shows in London and so forth. So
I know what you mean, Charles, with that one.
She enjoys that, man. She enjoys that kind of music. So definitely, man, that's new music for her to listen to, or us to listen to in the car when we're driving somewhere or whatnot. You know what I mean? So
you know what's funny? Shoppe just reached out to me, innit?
Is it?
Just now, yeah.
What?
I just commented on his video and he just reached out, and I think he was checking out some of the stuff I was doing. So that was interesting. Sorry. That's live. That is mad. So imagine we're just talking about him. Yeah, exactly. He must be able to hear us. Is he in the room? I was okay. Yeah. But I think I'm going to tell him about, you know, Kingdom Culture right now. You know, hey, if anyone's listening to this for the first time, you know, please comment on, you know, wherever you find it, whether it's on iTunes or where else are we? We're on YouTube. We're on Google, pretty much everywhere now, isn't it? Yeah. Hey, are we on Spotify? Because I know Spotify's starting to do the podcast thing. Yeah, Spotify's got the podcast thing, but we haven't explored it yet. I don't know what their requirements are, but we're gonna tap into that soon as well. We're also on the app as well, so you can just download that app and then you can listen to the podcast directly through the app. So yeah, man, just download from any app store that you are connected to on your device, and yeah, we're there. So God, it's good. Can I put my one in? Yeah, do it. So we spoke about this on the other podcast, but I thought, you know what? I got a chance to actually play the track. So I'm going to do a sling back and G-tay blessings.
You're listening to the UKCHH podcast.
Blessing, blessings, blessing, blessings. I'll be walking in these blessing, blessings. Blessing, blessings, blessing, blessings. Always talking about these blessing, blessings. Blessing, blessings, blessing, blessings. See a pagan, I'm an alpha blessing. Blessing, blessings, blessing, blessings. More of you, so I'm an adolescent. Blessing from learning a lesson. I live in the word, so I'm always progressing. Never caught holding a weapon. My hand on a word, now I'm holding a weapon. I used to live in aggression, now I live in peace. I get back like it's Tekken.
Only half black, but I'm bold. Produce fruit like a berry, now demons feel threatened. Blessings, blessings, I've been counting blessings. Ain't no bands on my arms, so I drown in blessings. From the belly to river to fountain blessings. Sowing the seed for the mountain blessings. Reaching up to the sky like I'm in a hole. Or one hand in the air, I ain't balling though. I take care while I step for the inner soul. Keep my eye on the ball like I'm in a goal. He controlling the game, no remote control. So what side are you picking, no centerfold? Feeling warm in the middle, passing where you want, but they're calling you Luke, you ain't Paul Scholes. Are you sure that Luke heard what I'm saying, bro? Don't get left at the back while you slipping low. Like a tackle in rain when you wanna bowl. Pick a side that you're on, either hot or cold. See, back then I was darker than inner coal. Now I live in a flame like I'm in a coal. On the phone to myself, it's a miracle. I'm reflecting a change, it's a miracle. Trying to reach to the pinnacle point of my walk, cannot be carnal but known as spiritual. If he opens a door, then the bridges are branch. You can't stand in my way, call me Billy Goat. Blessing, blessings, blessing, blessings. I be walking in these blessing, blessings. Blessing, blessings, blessing, blessings. Always talking about these blessing, blessings. Blessing, blessings, blessing, blessings. See a pagan, I'm a for blessings. Blessing, blessings, blessing, blessings. More of you.
This track for me, it's like, it just epitomizes the growth and development of UK Christian hip hop, personally for me, especially for somebody who's unspoken or more virtually unheard of. I love the bars. I love the way he flows. And the metaphors are just like a dime a dozen. There's so much in there that it gets your mind spinning. Like,
no wasted bars on it.
Yeah, no wasted bars, man. You know what I mean? So you can let's replay on that and get a fresh metaphor, a fresh bar, a fresh way of thinking, because of the way he lyrically, he's very artistic in the way he develops his lyrical structures. Not only that, I'm not a big fan of the beat, personally, but this is what I love so much about this track, is that I'm not a fan of that style of music, but because the lyrics are so weighty in terms of quality and depth, I can almost bypass the beat. And it's very rare for me to do that on music. I normally am very, like, listen, I got to like the beat first and then I'm going to hear the bars. But this time, I'm going to bypass the beat and listen to the bars. I'm like, yeah, this guy's flow is dumb. The way he's just riding the beat so effortlessly. And I think, Calvin, you said this on another podcast about, is it Sicily? No, Tanique. And you said she's just getting started. It seems like she's like she's toying around with it, like she's playing around for flow.
Yeah.
And I feel the same thing.
Just little jabs. Not uppercuts yet, just jabs. Just jabbing.
Yeah, just jabs. Like just weakening the body, you know what I mean? Like breaking the body down. And I feel like that's what G-tay is doing, and his album's available, or his EP's available on again, all major digital outlets, Spiritual Warfare. And he's got, I think, like 4 or 5 tracks on there. And again, the consistency remains. And that's what I'm so happy about, because sometimes you get artists where you go, what a track. This single is banging. Then you buy the project and you're like, whoa, like, who made that? Was it a ghostwriter? Did he outsource it? Because it's the consistency ain't there. But this guy got consistency, man. And
that one tickled me.
But you know what I mean? Like, So from G-tay blessings, man, really like it reminds me as well. The content reminds me not just the artistic side of it, which I value highly, but what he's talking about as well. And the way he's highlighting how he's so much more blessed in the life that he's living now than the life that he used to live. Just a simple message of being transformed by Jesus, and saying that no, the life I'm living now, I'm blessed by him. And I'm better off with him, So I can see who's directed that. I don't think it's directed at a church boy like myself, but I can still enjoy it because there's so much I can gravitate to in that. So yeah, big track. I like that a lot.
Yeah, it's a good track, man. I like it. I'm glad you spun it back too, That was a rewind for us. I think we talked about episode 2, I think it was.
I think so, yeah.
It's good to bring back.
Episode 2 or 3, when you wrote down when I was writing down did you write down the actual names that he mentioned, Calvin?
Click links.
Click links.
Do you know what I was talking about? I was talking about this in the car with the wife, and I said to her, the difference with us, like, we was listening to, I don't know if you know about Lauren Daigle. So she's a singer. Yeah. So we just got our album, and was listening to the car. Love the album. And I said the difference with like hip hop music is that it's almost like part of the craft to write your own stuff. Like with a singer-songwriter, I'm not saying her, I'm saying singer-songwriters, they normally like, get ghostwriters in, and it's almost a credible thing to do, to get the best product. But with hip-hop, it's like, nah, fam, you write your bars, like, and you hit your flow and whatnot. I'm not saying it's vacant or it never happens, but it's more likely that when you listen to an artist, you're getting probably about 99.9% of that artist's content, heart, progress, everything in that beat, or on those lyrics. And it's just a different contrast. And I really enjoyed that about rap music, that these guys have just sat there and gone, you know what? I'm going to write my bars, I'll put my metaphors in them, put my similes in them, put content in it, put depth, I'm going to take them on a story, I'm going to do all of these things in there, tone, development, and gradients, and ups and downs, and and they put it all together on a beat, and then they're going to put some ad-libs behind it, put some stabs here, and build a chorus, and all of those things from this one person without any type of external influences. Not to say it's a bad thing to have that, I'm just saying it's the one thing that I really do enjoy about rap music is the authenticity of music, if you know what I mean.
I suppose I suppose with the rap, you don't want to. People don't copy each other as such. Okay, there are copying, but it's a thing where everyone should have their own have your own stuff.
Well, you kind of listen to it in good faith, don't you?
Yeah.
You kind of you don't. I don't know about you, but I don't put on a rap track, and be like, yo, play this beat, listen to the guy spitting, and think, nah, he catted someone else. He's copying someone else, or that's not him. You it's like it's a natural reaction to believe that they wrote their own stuff. Yeah, it's their own flow. Nobody ghostwriting for them. It's a natural thing in hip hop. Like, but
there are a lot of copycats. That means I'm gonna be honest now. Sure. There's a lot of songs nowadays. I'm gonna be honest, guys. That some of them just sound the same now. Some songs they just started to sound the same. I don't know. I mean, I do like trap music a lot, right? But some of it is just sounding the same.
Sound like, I know I'm not a big fan of like drill trap, that kind of music and whatnot. But there was something about like 90s, maybe like early 2000s, 90s, early 2000s hip hop that was, you had to put so much content in it anyway because that was the style. Yeah. And it was something you could actually, there's value that you had in that. Now it's like a whole bar passes and my guys have said a couple of words. Yeah. I'm on my swag. You on your swag. It's like, what, fam? You didn't say anything. Like that's
all the lyrical content could have done in one verse. They did it. Yeah, man. It's true. But I get what you're saying, man. I get what you're saying.
I think I'm from a different era where you had 19 track albums. You know what I mean? Like, and there was thought put behind it. I'm not saying it's not put behind now, but there's something very beautiful about rap music where you expect like authenticity.
Tells a story, doesn't it?
I think we should camp on that for a second now, because I'm about to, talk about my I guess my nomination for this week to listen to. But you're right. The 90s was so creative, and there was a creative explosion. And in that explosion, like, okay, there were big like record deals and all that kind of stuff, right? And like there was big promotion, so everything seemed to count. And I felt like everyone really cared about every single song. There were no sleepers, you know what I mean? And everything had a journey. It was like a start, middle, and end. It was a story. Like the 90s and the early 2000s for me was the time of the album. Now it's all singles and it's all hype. And it's all, like I couldn't listen to like mumble rap, I guess, for a whole album. And I don't think they care because it's not designed for album sales. It's designed for single sales. I mean, you can see they're getting millions of streams and downloads off the one single. And they literally have like 10 music videos now. Whereas before, you used to have like 3 or 4. You have the key singles, and those key singles made you go, ooh, I can't wait for the album. Now you're not looking for the album. You're just looking for the next single, and everyone's releasing singles every month. It's just the game has changed because, access to music has changed. But I kind of do look back and go, I kind of miss it. Like, you know what I mean? I miss flipping through the back of the CD and going, oh man, like, it was done at this place and so-and-so produced it. Rah, I see him on this place. Oh, you know what I mean? I'm getting really emotional about liner notes. and reading the thank yous. You know what I mean? Now that's kind of gone. I know they're trying to bring liner notes back into Spotify. I do like lyrics. That's the good thing about digital age now. Like you can get lyrics.
Yeah, you can.
And just follow the lyrics to songs. So you can even now say, see how many times they say, you know, skirt, like, you know, all that kind of stuff. I just skirt anyway. But side thoughts. You mind if I share my nomination?
Go for it.
So, man, this is kind of like, I mean, this is the first time I'm nominated someone I actually worked with. And the song I'm actually nominated
was that
I actually worked on, like the mixed and mastered. So it's Outro by Feed 'Em. What I like about this particular song is that he goes out banging. And it's like, so this is an EP. And, you know, for those who don't know Feed 'Em kind of raps with an urgency. Like, he always sounds like he's going somewhere or he's doing something, like the song Murder the Flesh. You know what I mean? There's some immediacy with the lyrics. And so these are, his songs are like the type of songs you can actually work out with. You know what I mean? Very introspective, but you can actually work out with. Like Never Back Down is, I think, is a music video that just came out. And like, if you have you guys seen the single cover yet?
Yes, I have. I do like it. That's very creative. I definitely,
Feed 'Em. If you listen, I want the red hat in there.
You want his red? I've already got the navy blue one, but I do like the red hat. Yeah, well, Feed 'Em grew me up a long time. Oh my God.
You're funking now. Nah, man, I need to get that red hat, man. Red is my color because I'm an Arsenal fan. And obviously the food audio, he's got the fork and knife, you know what I mean? So, you know, we're both inspired by the same, you know, Matthew 4, man can't live by bread alone. So yeah, we're both inspired by that. And yeah, man, I can't wait for like the general public to access his music. I know you can access his music from website and you can buy it online, but you know, most people, you know, as we mentioned a second ago, you know, access it through Spotify and iTunes and then the rest of them, innit? So yeah, let me introduce Feed 'Em with the last song on his EP, which will be coming out generally on all platforms. It's called Outro. It's produced by Manuel and Energy Man.
You're listening to the UKC.
I'm gone and I won't come back. Outro. Fork and knife to the gang. Amen. Joe. You can know the other half is due to come. The first half was the preview done. I got a second to free me. Ain't that a trilogy? First thought I gotta murder me. Tragedy. When I enter the section with a weapon that is sharper than a Torah, I got 5 on it. More than numbers, I wanna see souls come alive in it. Bow to the flesh, but now when I bow, I aim for the chest. Checkmate. If it's a boarding game, I'm on with a jetpack. Come to the set or jet black with a scripture. Spit bars that will end ya. Old school like eye for eye. New school like eye for eye. Deny the self, die to self. This weight on my back is a corpse. To the hill, 10 toes, like who's gonna back it? I don't wanna handle awards, minor of course. A reminder for those that believe in glitz and glamour. That's right. Bricks and hammer, everything dusty. Boss man drives, I'll be chilling in the backseat. Amen. That's right. I don't just win like a surfer, but my kite game strong when I take off. Pilot mode, everything cushy. I'm gone and I won't come back. Tell my people, see you later. Destination to the maker. Outro. I'm gone and I won't come back. Tell my people, see you later. Destination to the maker. Outro. I'm gone and I won't come back. Cause I'm set free, now I'm set free on a mission to set free. There's a captive on a prison. Test me when I test me on the rhythm. My instinct is to squeeze on the rhythm. But I got a new thing for the rhythm. Nothing but love when I come true. Cause it's not about me on the rhythm. Anyways, back to the rhythm. If I
Feed 'Em's video, is it Never Back Down, yeah?
Yeah.
Jeez. That video's serious, man. Now I watched it the first time when I saw it on KC Mix, yeah, like I was thinking, 1 second, let me take that back. I said, wait, the way he put the storyline inside of that video, and because this is one thing I think is lacking severely when it comes to the output of music videos, is there's no content, no depth, no storyline. There's no like reason to watch other than seeing somebody just sing along to their track. You know,
yeah.
You know, you want depth, you want storyline, you want to understand the song in a I think a music video is a chance for the artist to be more creative and elaborative on their piece of music.
There's a scene talking about storyline, and I had to rewind it 3 or 4 times, and I swear I fell off my chair. So you see in the video, in that scene where the girl kind of takes into the restroom and
that's the stuff.
But, yeah, you'll see Interpol sitting on the side. We know how short he is, so I started laughing, right? Because everyone's at his height, and then I see Unique busting a little dance, and I was like, "Rod, nobody's dancing. What are you doing, bro?" Like,
everyone's gonna do that now. Like, we're gonna check that video out and see why I go on with Unique though.
We have to put the link in the video in the notes as well. So do that so that everyone can find.
I have to find that one.
So guys, let's end it there for part 1, and we'll be back with part 2 shortly after this.
Have you been looking for Christian rappers in the UK? Is your playlist old and needs something fresh? Want to have the choice of who you want to listen to? Find what's hot and what's new at the #1 place for the UK Christian rap scene. Interviews, podcasts, music videos, free music, mixtapes, and so much more can be found on Kingdom Culture at kcmix.com.
Welcome back to part 2 of the UKCHH podcast on Kingdom Culture. And we've got a topic that we want to discuss here. The question is, should Christian music artists collaborate with secular artists? And that's out to the floor.
I think so. Obviously, if we're talking about music where the context is so open, then for example, I don't know, you got a bunch of guys in a music video, and there's pool party and they're drinking in the pool and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, that's not a good song to be on. You know what I mean? But we need to be salt and light in the world, and sometimes it will help being featured maybe on a secular project where they are talking about blessings and stuff like that. I don't think we should be too rigid, but there should be an air of caution and making sure that that you are placed correctly, because that could spoil your witness. There are baby Christians out there. Christians are not mature in a faith that could automatically assume that everyone that you're working with is Christian, and that's not helpful. But when you have experienced Christian rappers who are known for a certain skill, working with, secular artists, like for example, Merce. Merce is not a Christian rapper, but he is always around Christian rappers, right from D1 to the Dream Junkies. And so I like how they use him, because obviously, Merce is known for his, his colorful language, so I'll put it that way. But he's a dope rapper, and when they rap, it's dope. It's not, you couldn't even call it secular or sacred, but you definitely, there is a message to be said, whatever the subject could be had. But one needs to be careful. That's what I think. I bet you guys weren't expecting me to say that, were you?
No, I'm not. I'm kind of yes and no, but as you said, it really just for me as well just depends on who the person is, and obviously you got to be mindful of, as you said, some people are not mature in their walk yet, so I suppose be mindful of who you're collaborating with and what that what things can lead to.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, Bizzle couldn't do it because Bizzle's known for being strong against what the world is teaching you through that secular worldview. So he may have the secular sound, but he definitely is 100% Christian. Whereas Lecrae, he's got to such a level that he can literally be salt and light in different areas. And so what I didn't want to do is rubbish Lecrae for what he's doing and how he's getting secular artists involved in his project and how he's involved in their projects. Because he can still communicate in a way where people are like, oh man, that guy's really good. Let me go check him out. And then they realize, oh wow, he's Christian. You see what I mean? Because sometimes, like the secular world, like for me, I didn't like Christian music because it was Christian. Like they would call it Christian hip hop. I thought that was an oxymoron. Obviously now I think differently, but then Christian music would turn me off because it's like, you know, my ears wasn't ready for that. All I wanted to hear was hip hop. And so Lecrae has a good way of kind of bridging a gap, so to speak. Whether it's the way he did it, and his commentary, I thought was ill-advised. If I was his advisor, I would just say, hey, no, I wouldn't word things that way. I wouldn't say it that way. And I wouldn't rubbish Christian hip-hop as a whole. And that's what I felt like he did. And when you go from 116 unashamed and then suddenly flip and start working with secular artists, I think you have to do a job of kind of pairing people. At the same time, it's not his job to do that. He's called by God to be a rapper who's a Christian. And I know he's evangelizing in green rooms before his events everywhere he goes. And so I definitely support him on that. But, I guess with everything, like we just talked in a previous section about like artists using what Bizzle's doing in an event as an example of how you can minister and do dope Christian hip hop. We can learn from that, but at the same time, calling is important. Like you need to be, you really, really need to wrestle with God, with your craft. Like, is this what the Lord is calling you to do? Like Bizzle was humble enough to go outside and just pray when it's quiet without no hype, and I've worked very, very close with Bizzle and I know what he's like. And everything he does, he tries as much as I've seen physically to pray about things and really, he struggles with it. Like he doesn't want to be a burden to others. He doesn't want to be an idol. And in a business where hip hop is known for idols, you know what I mean? When you go on stage, it's very hard to leave Christ on there when you leave.
Yeah, he seems, because I asked him a question and I said, because I don't want to give away too much stuff, because obviously you lot will eventually see the question, see my, my recording that I'd done with him. But basically he sort of mentioned, just, I want them to see Christ, automatically so basically what you said, Calvin, he doesn't want people to idolize him at all.
Yeah.
No time, don't see me, see Christ. Please do not see me, see Christ. That's like how he doesn't want that at all.
Yeah. Which, honestly, that's such a different, anyone who wants to be an artist should be struggling with this. You just coming up with dope rhymes and finding a beat and trying to balance your books and, trying to get, he traveled with his wife. He's got 2 kids. I'm sure the 2 kids weren't there. So, finding babysitters while they're traveling or, 5,000 miles to London. Like there is such an operation going on and it's not done knee jerk. Like, everyone sees the stage and they see the albums and, they see him in the studio and they see the videos. There's a lot more behind all of that. And so, he's carefully considering his lyricism, his delivery, who's producing. I've mixed some of his songs, not all of them, and who's he's going to work with, what studio, what is it going to go and budget under time, what merch is ready for that, is everything communicating Christ at the same time. Not forgetting that, yes, he's an artist, but he's also the CEO of his label and he's got several artists in that and he's doing the same thing with all those individuals. I know a little bit about that and that's not easy work, So, for those in the UK who are impressioned by what they've seen, there's a lot that goes into that. That's just not words. That's blood, sweat, and tears. When somebody's coming 5,000 miles, he's coming 5,000 miles for you to reach to bring you the gospel. May it never be tired. But he's delivering it in a way that is unique, which is what the Lord has called him to do. And so, like if you feel called to do that, this work with secular artists, it takes a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, a lot of prayers, a lot of, Bizzle has a tight group of people he can trust and talk to, and he's accountable. He's working with the local church. He's plugged into communities. Like he's literally working tightly with people. Like, he's not done all inside his head. And honestly, I think he's married over 10 years, I think. To be married, like, we all know what it's like to be married and still continue in, the craft that the Lord has called us to do. That takes some spiritual strength in a family home. And to really answer the question, I would always lean back to the calling what God has asked you to do, Yeah.
I mean, it seems like Calvin really answered because I wouldn't say that, because there was at one stage, a while ago, I used to think, no, second is separate and, separate, everyone's separate. But then, as time goes on, as I've matured and, as you start to understand things, everyone's called to do different things. So as you said, right, you can't rubbish one person, the Cray or other artists that have worked with secular artists, because they're called to do that. But there are some artists that maybe want to copy that. But then, if you're not called to do it, don't do it, because you just make a big mess of it, and it will cause other people to lose faith. So just if you don't do it right, so you have to. I just feel you definitely have to be called to be able to do that, because it's not easy being within that sort of environment, the secular environment. There's a lot of a lot of things you have to contend with.
I think you both used the term calling. Like if you're called to do, and so forth. And I believe that, God calls individuals to do things. It's a scriptural thing. But it's also a scriptural thing about, it says in 2 Corinthians 6:14 or something like that. It says, do not be yoked together with unbelievers, for what does righteousness and wickedness have in common? Or what fellowship can light have with darkness? And it goes on to say, what has Christ to do with Belial, who's a false god, or Satan worship kind of thing. So it kind of like talks about that yoke. It's that kind of partnership. Because it's like, it's one thing, ministering the gospel to sinners, like saying, look, bro, I hear where you at, I see where you at, I can relate to that, but I can tell you of a better life than you're living now, a life that is, that is safe in salvation in God kind of thing, and witness to somebody like that. But it's another thing to yoke with them in a project, like working together. Like we are yoked together in this project. So if I'm going to go perform this, I'm going to holler at you, say, yo, fam, you want to come down here and do and jump on the set? Or you're going to split this 50-50, or we're going to go and do something that may not be 100% legal, but because we're yoked together in this track, you're going to have to come and do it too, or then you're going to have to, it makes it quite difficult later on in terms of the whole yoked together, like, the yoke was almost like a handcuff.
There is a limit. There's still a limitation with that, though. Like the limitation would be, like, depending on the subject. So, like, if you were joining a crew, like if you're a hip hop group and you're the only Christian in that you really are with the group. The group is yoked together. But when it comes to a song, the song may you may be yoked regarding something else, like a different subject altogether, and so you may be coming in, add some more grace and you may be even used to articulate blessings, But I don't think, and maybe we can agree to disagree, but I think that's the difference with yoking together. Like if you were to start a business, it's like marrying somebody that is not equally yoked. That's more of a long-term fusing. Going back to Christ in his day, I think, he spent at least like 17, 18 years building carpentry, and everything he sold doesn't make him yoked to that individual that he sold with.
Yeah, because I was going to business with an unbeliever. Like I was going to business with an unbeliever. I'm not saying the music. I know what you mean, because the music, but I would, I would go into business with an unbeliever.
You're preaching opposite messages. Yeah. Like it's one thing to say, like, okay, cool, I want a chair. And Jesus is like, yeah, cool, man. What do you want to look like? I want 4 around the table. Cool, I'll make that for you. Like there is, the partnership that you have with the person who's selling it is just product to being purchased. But when you're talking about influence, when you're talking about subject matters, when you're talking about belief systems, faith, there's so many elements when it comes to music. You're preaching practically. It's almost just like saying, would you be happy with your pastor getting on stage with a kind of motivational speaker who believes in, you know, who's an evolutionist to talk about creation? Or we're gonna make it.
But depends on the setting. Exactly as Calvin would say, depends on the setting and the
because I mean, you're right though. Like that, you're right in that. I think there's a certain level of discernment that you have to have regarding anything. Like you could, you know, I'm trying to think of an artist and his name escapes me. There are soul artists that, you know, we're talking about 70 soul artists who are Christian. They didn't work with everybody in the industry, but they worked with certain individuals, and they talked about certain subjects, and usually was talking about love. And so I felt that artist felt that he could work with that person because it was a certain discussion point, if you know what I mean. And you could be invited as a Christian for that discussion point, and still not compromise your faith. I think it's very, very hard to work with someone like, you know, like, for example, the Snoop Dogg project. I don't know if I could work on that Snoop Dogg project. Because at the end of the day, it's like Snoop Dogg is such the bigger name. And yes, he may be talking about God, but then what does how does he represent God? You see what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
If Snoop Dogg came to me and said, hey, look, I just want this dope R&B track. Can you help me build this track? I could work with him there because that was my capacity, is to work on the track, but not so much subscribe to everything that he represents. I think I'm drawing towards. I think when it's like you offer a service that has no influential capacity, then I think I don't see you being yoked to that person, you know. But when I think it comes to like the tongue, and how he can set the whole fire, set the whole body on fire according to the Bible scripture in James, and how much weight there is on what we say, you know, to get partner with somebody who says something to the opposite of what you say, that seems like there is light and dark there. It's just, you know, I'm not trying to, like, you know, put anybody in a box and say, look, you know, you're this if you do that, but I'm just looking at what the word says. I think, okay, cool. Without me trying to, like, you know, complicate it in my mind, I'm thinking, well, if I'm yoked together with this unbeliever, he doesn't believe what I believe. Is he righteous? Does he promote righteousness or wickedness? As wickedness, you know, and are we having fellowship in what we're doing? Well, yeah, and well, the scripture told me not to do that. Yeah, like I said, I think you're absolutely right. I think you have to have a certain level of discernment of who they are. Like there are artists like MC Chad in Canada, dope artist. Not many people know he's Christian, and he's worked with other secular artists that wouldn't compromise technically, spiritually, the faith, like as we know it. And so I listen to the music, and I'm like, yeah, I could receive that. And you know, obviously I discern hard because I'm like, you know, I know Chad is a Christian, and so I don't know all the other guys, and so, you know, I find that they're not a Christian, but then I realized that they didn't compromise the message. And so I can get with the message. Like there are love songs that I know that weren't written by a Christian, where I can go, I can relate to that, you know, because I still have to look at the fact that it's still an art form, even though it's the tongue, and being careful of what I'm receiving, you know, there's a certain level of discernment. And so I think you have to be, I'm not saying, I'm not even going to call myself a mature Christian or even saying that what you're saying is incorrect. I just say, you know, before I put a hard line, no, I think there are some mitigating circumstances that I could see artists collaborating together with the secular artists.
So what about the opposite direction? Secular artists collaborating with Christian? Because you know that was always going on, where they have their choirs. A lot of them, like coming up to Christmas now, a lot of them are going to have choirs in there.
Yeah, true.
You know? That's just, you know, the common theme coming up to Christmas. So.
There's no conviction from that.
And that's the thing. And a lot of church choirs, not, you know, known churches will have, some of them have their choirs singing for secular art.
Yeah,
you know,
But not everybody in the choir is Christian, so.
But in some instances where the church choir actually comes from a particular church, and they've backed certain artists. So isn't that?
Well,
I'll
tell you something.
Yeah.
I'll tell you something. Yeah. This is coming from a Houston worship pastor that has a lot of exposure and influence, not influence, but he's at close proximity with a majority of big choirs that travel. He told me nearly 70% of these choirs in the band and in the choir, they're practicing homosexuals. And he said that this is actually a problem, a real deep problem that's been in the African-American community here, not just in Houston, but around the country. And it's something that it's systemic, it's consistent in different states. And it's pretty, like, even though you have the outward appearance that they're Christian and, you know, they're technically brilliant, you know, a lot of these people are just working pros that happen to have a different life. And so even with those who perceive to be Christian, you know, we all know, you know, you can talk a good game, but, you know, the Lord is the one that questions what's going on in the heart. And now, and here's the thing. When I hear the question, I have to automatically think about the prominent names that I can think is doing that. I actually don't know many Christian artists working with secular artists. But
there isn't a lot. That's the thing. There isn't a lot.
But we do know that Lecrae is definitely one of them. And so, you know, I know that he's definitely Christian. Question is he called? And so my hope and you know, before I write everything that he says in a line by saying, no, you can't do it, you know, there must be some mitigating circumstances, some challenges that you have to overcome. I'm sure that he doesn't want to cause other people to stumble, and maybe he's in control of that situation. But you know, I don't know. I'm kind of with you, Charles, and in certain ways I'm kind of leaning towards you, but I just, for some reason, part of me just doesn't want to give it a hard, absolutely no way you can't work with. Because, like, for example, there's a restaurant here in the South called Chick-fil-A, and it's pretty well known. It's a Christian owned, one of the fastest franchise-based restaurants in.
I wish they had one in New York when I went there, because I really wanted to try something.
I bet. It's really good, and they hire you know, practicing homosexuals, but they know where they stand. And so to have a business, and we all have a business, you know, what type of spiritual strength or reason to have people that would normally cause friction within a Christian enterprise? What would make you go, you know, actually, I will accept these people in our business, in our enterprise, even though we have a message of love, peace, and hope in Jesus Christ. You know, the gospel, really, you know, so.
But the thing is, with on that point, Calvin, as you're saying there, is again, it's not really, they're not really promoted, are they? You know, if you hire a practicing homosexual, you know, it's just they want the staff to do the job and so forth. But I think when it comes to the artists, I think it's promoted. It's, you know, it goes out everywhere. You know, like I never knew about Ty Dolla $ign. I didn't know this guy existed, you know, until Lecrae done a song with him. Right. And then I decided, oh, who's this guy? And then I'm clicking. Now, I'm not trying to say Lecrae led me down a path or whatnot. I'm not really trying to say that. I'm just trying to be direct in terms of, I didn't know who he was, but I found out who he was through Lecrae. Now,
yeah, I understand that, but I think he has, and so I think he's outgrown Christian hip hop. If I'm honest, as an entity, like Christian hip hop is still technically an underground musical genre, subgenre, and so he has, with his Grammy, moved beyond the subgenre, and so now for him to continue and build his label, and let's face it, everybody else in the label is still classified, maybe except one, is still classified as Christian hip hop. It's still under that banner. And so by him going forward allows him to take Christian hip hop in areas that it's never been before. And so, look, at the same time, I don't holistically subscribe to what they're doing. I'm just commenting on what I see and what they've said, and, you know, kind of fill in the blanks. Like they call Reach Records for a reason, and I actually feel that they're still maintaining a course of you know, direction that they've been called to, which would, you know, literally bring their music to areas that it would never have been exposed if it was just having the Christian hip hop moniker over it. And so I feel I can't think of anyone in Christian hip hop right now, barring probably NF, that could potentially work with a secular artist.
Well, I, again, with the secular artist's reach, and I understand, you know, if you work with that person, how much more bigger this thing could be. I get that, but sometimes I don't understand the allure other than that. You know, I just think
I'm with you on that.
I'm just not, you know, just sometimes I have conversations with people and they're raving on about, you know, someone's new track and whatnot, and I'm just not interested anymore.
Yeah,
you know,
I'm right there with you. But I think like, you've got to see some of these. I mean, I coach high school football, and these kids are like, they're subscribed to like Rap Caviar, which is like a really big iTunes and Spotify new, you know, song presentation of, you know, hip hop that's out there. And so,
not that we're trying to promote them.
Yeah, it's true. But it's good to know, because as Christians, you see, like we've got to understand like how, like you've got to study how the youth particularly gets access to the music that they succumb to. Like in my day, I you know, it would be radio, you know, and there were certain radio stations, and so to get a gospel hour was a huge thing.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Sundays. It's huge. That is huge. It's tiny. It's 1 hour, and like pack all the music through it. And then, you know, like in our day growing up, it wasn't even that good. You know what I mean? It was mainly US as well. So, you know, that, I mean, it proves that Christian hip hop is still a subgenre. Only that some people, you might as well consider Lecrae as one of the mainstream artists out there, and he's, by his numbers, he's not even huge. So you know what I mean. I think what he's doing is something different. Does he have a mitigating circumstance? Only God can answer that one. What does that mean for everyone else? That's a high calling if God's calling you to do it, and you want to make sure that you're surrounded by good people. I'm talking about deacon people. All your friends, your best friends, got to be deacons. Like, you know what I mean? They got to be strong in the word. Like, because that takes some anchoring, man. Like, you've got to, like, honestly, like, the music game, man. I'm not saying that I've ever been super successful or been in it for like over 20 years. Actually, just around that. But I'm not saying that, you know, I'm Simon Cowell, for example. I'm not a mover and shaker, but I'll say this, man. Like, it's a lonely world, and it's dog eat dog. And so if you feel that you can jump in the ring and start working with secular artists and still maintain your faith, and you're not known, you're in danger, my friend. Like,
but the thing is, not all secular artists do want to collaborate with Christian artists anyway, because, you know, why would they want to? If you're not, you know, how, in the secular world, basically, if you're not known, why do they want to collaborate with you?
Well, it's also like, you know, the message that you have as well. I think those artists who have got like really strong messages, they don't really have a lot of features with secular artists, because the message is very it's very singular. It's like, you know, this is it. You know, I'm talking about, you know, the one God, the one Son, the cross, and whatnot. So I don't really want to work with that person. But the ones that are a bit more I'm positive, non-explicit kind of type, they kind of get that. So I'm with you, Calvin. I don't think I disagree with what you're saying. I think I actually agree with it. In parts as well. But I think for me personally, the best thing that we can do for Lecrae is like, you know what, bro, we're gonna pray for you. We're gonna lift you up in prayer. That you succeed and do what God has called you to do, but at the same time, not become like mic watchers and sit on our seat and go, okay, what's happening next? Or what's that he's doing there? But continue to do what God has called us to do, because I think there's something bigger happening in the UK Christian hip hop and Christian hip hop around the world. You know what I mean? People are rising up, things are happening, you know, and connections are happening as well. So yeah, I think prayer is the most constructive and godly thing to do for Lecrae.
My biggest frustration, I guess, because I work with a lot of artists, my biggest frustration is that they don't see it as a calling sometimes. You know? It's like, you know, sometimes as a Christian rap artist, if you're ever gonna be sharing the love of Christ, demonstrating the love of Christ with a myriad of ways on a mic, over a hip hop beat, or any other type of musical genre. If you're going to say you're a Christian artist, please read the Bible. Like, please check your lyrics. Please, like, have some real discernment. Like, have some real, reverence for who you're representing on a mic. Because you're literally, as soon as that beat is going, you've literally put down a soapbox. And then as soon as you open up your mouth, like, story jumps out, right? So, your testimony, who you are, what you've been reading comes out. Like, what is evident in your heart will come is in your mind, and it's in your words, and it's in everything that you're doing. And there are people out there listening. Like, look at the Bizzle concert. There are people out there who demand high quality, So you may even be reading. You may even be strong in the Lord. You may not be called to be a rapper. This is symbiotic. Like, whatever you do, there's got to be some sort of level of, here I am, Lord. I'm ready to serve you through this, whatever this is. You could be writing books, could be like, we need marriages. Like, we need graphic designers. We need videographers. Like, we need more of them. We need more creatives, Christian creatives who are inspired and, are you looking for interns? It's a good time to plug right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, we need more, bro. Like honestly, I own a record label, and there are probably only 3 or 4 videographers that I could afford here in Houston. That's not enough. I need graphic designers. I need people who can plug on social media and are creative with it, not just posting and doing it wherever they can. You know what I mean? There's got to be a, like we're a body, right? We're in the body. Not everybody could be preachers and teachers. Like, not everybody can be serving, doing and
different members, isn't there?
We all different members, but we're part of the same body. And so what makes us click is understanding what God has called you to do. So when the preacher is preaching, like, what's stirring in your heart? What is he influencing you to do? Question is, where can you love God the most? That's what you should be doing. Maybe that's your calling. Where could you serve the best?
That's the one. Where
is
can
it
you
on the
serve
mic? Is it behind the mic?
And the thing is, Kelvin, behind the mic, it's not what people think it is. It is an enjoyable place. It's a hard place, but it's an enjoyable place to be, to see being part of a working machine, being part of a work in progress towards things, because you need engineers, you need producers, you need DJs, you need media, you need publishing, there's so many elements that you need to make music work. And I find that if we all just grab a lot of the wisdom that you just said there and just think, where can I love God the most? Where can I put my hand down and say, this is where I'm at, not necessarily writing bars or on stage, but let me find out where God wants me to be in this whole arena of whether it is, writing books or whatever, but obviously being more specific to, like, Christian hip hop. Where do I fit? You know what I mean? And be inspired by others as well. I know there's a lot of these vlogs and things going around, but find your calling, find that place where you can love God the most, and also let the Holy Spirit work through you creatively and see some great stuff that can happen. Well, that's a wrap for episode 5. And thank you for listening. Thank you for spending time. Thank you for those who share. Thank you for all your comments as well. If you have any questions, please send it through to us. You can go on Kingdom Culture Contact and send an email into us. You can go on social media and just leave a comment in the post. Thank you very much for listening to the UK CHH podcast and Kingdom Culture. Peace out.
Kingdom Culture.
I'm Cassie, and I'm a DJ and radio presenter.
This is Calvin, the Food Venus. I'm a professional mix and mastering engineer, producer, CEO of a studio and a record label.
Yo, I'm Charles, founder of Kingdom Culture and a creative enthusiast. And you're listening to the UK Christian Hip Hop Podcast on Kingdom Culture.